having a good time with family and friends, it has to be followed up by a great meal. And great meals begin at Country Meats. When it comes to high quality steaks at everyday low prices, Country Meats cannot be beaten. So, whether you're cooking for one or cooking for 20, barbecuing a favorite or grilling a classic, it has to be from Country Meats. Country Meats, where high quality, excellent prices, and outstanding service meet. Check us out at your nearest supermarket or inside any quality poultry products outlet. Country Meats, providing the highest quality and variety when it comes to steaks and other meats in Belize. There are several benefits to eating rice regularly. Whether you're looking for a protein-rich food for your vegan or vegetarian diet, or looking for an awesome pre-workout meal, Country Foods Rice is an ideal candidate. Country Foods Rice works in many ways to improve your body's overall health. It also is a great source of energy, improves nervous system health, gluten-free, and is a natural anti-inflammatory. Country Foods Rice. Look for our products in a store near you. Global Steel Services is a state-of-the-art metal fabrication plant. They manufacture precision-made metal parts for construction, cladding, sheet metal, science supplies, and many other uses. They make purlins and metal decking of any size. They specialize in customizing any structure to suit your unique needs. Visit them at 42.5 miles on the George Price Highway or give them a call at 671-4118. Global Steel Services, leading the way in steel structures in Belize.
Did you know?
Did you know that you will pay for insurance whether you like it or not? You will either pass that risk to an insurance company, or when the event happens, you find the money to pay for it. Why take the risk? Let's show you how to handle those risks. Talk with an insurance advisor today. Sagicor, wise financial thinking for life.
I had a really good time tonight.
So did I.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor. Learn more at sagicorlife.com.
Charlotte, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Rhonda.
Let me first say thank you for taking the time to come and share your journey thus far with us. I fully appreciate it. For the people watching, I am sure that Charlotte's story will impact you in some way. So we encourage you to stay tuned, sit down, enjoy, and watch. Charlotte, let's start where it began. In your early childhood, where did you grow up?
So I grew up through Petticoat Alley, the famous alley facing Bel Rio. That was where I started. That was where my story began.
Good. What was life like through Petticoat Alley?
It's a storybook. For others, it might be different, but there was always a story to tell. It was exciting. Petticoat Alley was the village that helped raise every child to let them become who they are today. For me, that was what Petticoat Alley was about.
For the people that are watching that don't know Petticoat Alley now or then, what can you describe the setting for the people?
So I can say there were many of us who all walks of life. When I'm saying all different ethnic groups, we had the Creole, we had the Garifuna, we had the Mai, the Spanish, the Quechua, so many different walks of life that came through that alley, that lived through there. And many of us had stories to tell, but many of us, I will say there were a few of us that was without that father figure in our lives. And I think that was one of the greatest bond, because my admiration for Petticoat Alley was the woman who helped build and kept that family together throughout all the hardships and despite what adversaries came about.
What was life like inside your home? How many siblings did you have growing up with you, if any, and who were the parents in your home?
So I grew up with my grandmother and my aunt at the time. I didn't know my father, and My mother was not present in the home. So it took when I was smaller, it was my grandfather and my cousins, and our yard was like a communal yard. So we had two houses in the yard, and it was an upstairs and downstairs, and some cousins and aunt lives upstairs, and we lived downstairs. And then there was a studio where my grandfather had all these friends that came around and hang out, and whenever he would come back from his job abroad. So he himself was absent. And I grew up with my aunt and my grandmother being the matriarch. They were the strong ones, making sure everything went well in my home.
Did you have other siblings growing up in that same home?
No, no. I was the only grandchild from my grandmother that grew up in that home. So yes, I was spoiled to an extent in that home, but my aunt had her kids, and I grew up with them as if they were my siblings. And I wasn't the only one in the alley that pretty much had that experience. There was quite a few of us that did have that experience, either where our mother went abroad to work or our mother wasn't present. So we ended up growing up with our grandparents.
Which school did you attend?
Holy Redeemer.
What was that experience like?
That experience was lots and lots of stories. Rhonda, it was great experience because those friends, I still have them. The friends that I had from ABC, as we used to call it, all the way through, I still have those friends, which my kids thinks it's amazing that how can you still have the friends, the people we grew up with in Petticoat Alley, we consider ourselves family. So we keep that friendship up until today. My kids are so confused because they're like, are they really blood related or are they not blood related? Because everybody is family. But the home I grew up in, my grandmother always took in somebody. Anyone who needed help, that was what I grew up learning, that, one hand washes the other. And so I think that's the gist of what life was about, and made it interesting because so many different stories came into our home.
When you were little, growing up with your grandparents, if you will, how did you feel knowing that your biological parents were absent? Did you notice it, or it was kind of just natural, this is how it is, and you didn't think about it?
It was very hard. It was hard. It's still hard. I think that is the whole rationale for me making sure that my children would never have that experience. And because when it was a Father's Day or Mother's Day at school, the other kids had a father or mother that they could make a card to. I was making a card for my grandmother or my aunt or my godmother, but I didn't have a mother or a father to say, oh, I'll make a card for them just like the other kids. And then when they had their daddy, I didn't have that. I didn't have that. And many people would say, but you had your grandmother and your aunt. But it's a different feeling. It's a totally different feeling when you don't have those two parents there with you.
When you were growing up in that environment, I'm sure that every young person had dreams. One day I am going to grow up and I'm going to be this. What was your dream?
My dream was that I was going to be a princess. No, honestly, Rhonda, my dream was I was going to win Queen of the Bay.
Okay.
That was the big thing in our Petticoat Alley. We had a young lady named Laverne Lord, and she would run the Queen of the Bay. We had our mini Queen of the Bay. And they purposefully made sure that I didn't win because they loved to see me cry and run home to my grandma. And no matter how many times they did it, they still didn't make sure I didn't win. But no, my dream was always to help others. That was what I grew up seeing. My aunt and my grandma always helping somebody. And that was always my thing, that when I left Belize, I was going to find a way, somehow to give back.
That you have done. Before we get there, did you ever enter into any pageant? Or what is her name? Did she spoil it for you forever?
Oh, Laverne Lord? No, I did enter Miss Paloti.
Okay.
So I did continue on to one pageant, but no, I didn't. But Laverne was, or she, we did look up to her because she entered into the Queen of the Bay, and she placed second. I think it was Queen of the Bay or Miss Belize, but and she was our petticoat Ollie, like, oh God, this was amazing. So the alley looked up to anything that grew up out of it that we did, and many of us are very successful that came out of that alley. So I will say all the women that put together and raised us did very well. There was a lot of the paternal missing, but these women stepped up to the plate.
We're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk about you leaving Belize and what that first experience was like. We're gonna take a break and be back. New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating, and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize. P-Tech has been in Belize now for more than 6 years. We specialize in residential and industrial high-quality glass windows and doors.
I chose P-Tech windows because they're the highest quality I can get.
I chose P-Tech windows because I'm quite impressed about the way they're manufactured. These are double pane glasses. They're called low E. That keeps out a lot of the heat.
Check us out at p-tek.com or give us a call at 671-3842.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers, and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation.
Great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Hi, I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Carmen.
Have you been trying to start a garden but just don't know how?
Do you have a garden but not so green at home?
If so, then this is the show for you. Join us this and every Sunday at 10 a.m. on Facebook for
Sowing Sundays from Quarter Acre Plant Nursery in Ladyville.
It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Some moments are worth the journey. We'll help get the most out of every mile. Chase down your passion. Never halfway. Hankook Tire.
Welcome back to Morning Matters. Mrs. Charlotte Nal in with us this morning, sharing her life's journey. Charlotte, what made you leave Belize and when did you leave?
So I left Belize after SJC Sixth Farm. I left to further my education. That was the main purpose. Again, everybody can tell you I'm gung-ho Belizean, so but my aunt insisted that I had to continue my education. That was their rule. Like before you get married, you are settled down, you gotta have a bachelor's degree.
And so you left Belize and went to live with your aunt?
I left Belize and came up to Miami to go to Barry University in Miami. So I lived with my other aunt while going to school up there.
What was some of the difficulties that you faced initially, if any?
It was hard. I was so homesick, especially Christmas time. And I think the alley gave us that closeness feeling, that Christmas time, especially Christmas time. And I'll tell you, I have left home 30 something years ago, and Christmas, I cry every Christmas. If I'm not at home, it's not the same. So it's that togetherness that where if I break down in my vehicle down the road, the neighbor will help me. Or if I run out of a pack of flour, I can run across the street. That's what I missed. And when I came to the United States, that wasn't there.
You studied what? What did you go to pursue your degree in?
So I started off with computer science. And I realized.
Started off with computer science. So when you left Belize, you thought to yourself, you know what, this is what I am going to do. But you did not graduate with a degree in computer science. Why?
Because doing computer science, I realized that was not for me. I am thinking, I'm a people person. It's in my DNA, it's in my blood. I cannot sit behind a computer so many hours a day and not interacting. And so I realized that I switched my degree into sociology because it wasn't for me, but I wasn't sure that I really wanted to go into psychology. I loved the thought of it, but I still wasn't sure. So I fielded out with the sociology to see, well, if this is the way I really wanted to go.
And you stuck with that?
And I got stuck with the sociology, yes.
Good. Then your life now began to take a more adult feel, if you will. What did you do next?
So I ended up getting married. My husband is from Belize, and we have similar upbringing. We were both not having that paternal figure. So I think we found that bond and that likeness. We both grew up with our grandparents and not having the maternal figure there either. He was in the army, and my life started out following him. And that's when I realized I was a family readiness advocate volunteering. And that's when I realized, oh, I think I like this. This is up my alley. The social work, the people.
How difficult was it for you to make your way?
It was very hard. Trust me, the life of a military spouse, following your husband every 3 years, you got to change where you live, starting a career over. And that was when, after I had my first child, that I realized this is not working. I can't keep stopping and rooting up my kids and moving. And so we ended up, he ended up in Korea and I came back home to Belize. Of course, I was like, what? You're leaving me here by myself? No, 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 I'm going home. So I went home and I had the opportunity to work with National Committee for Children and Families for a year. And that's when I was like, this is where I'm going. The nonprofit is my life. That's and social work and helping others. That's where I need to be.
How difficult was it raising your children? Yes, your husband was there, but his job kept him away a lot of times, I would imagine. How difficult, because now it is your responsibility to keep your children connected to him. So you have to make sure that the calls are made and that kind of stuff. How difficult was that task for you?
It really wasn't difficult. We found, my husband, David and I found every which way we could to make it work, to be involved. So last night we were laughing about how many boxes I sent, how many pictures, how many cards the kids wrote. Every chance we got, we included the kids in every way. And he was gone. To be honest, once we got back to Colorado in 2001, up until 2020, my husband had deployed 10 times, and these were yearly deployments. So who you think stepped in to help me? Here comes grandma and aunt and my aunt. That's why we refer to my aunt as Mary Poppins, because they come in with their bags and they set up house. And I was doing a career and working full time while we have a husband deployed, not knowing what's going to happen with him. But they kept my house grounded and going, and they kept my kids knowing so many stories that they can follow, and especially enriching our Belizean culture in my home, away from home. I think that was the most important piece.
I think you did well with that. I think that Petticoat Alley experience really did well for you. Do you believe that you chose this kind of work based on especially your early childhood experience?
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes my husband said, when are you going to stop taking that phone call? When are you going to close the door? When are you going to say no? And I said, I can't. I just can't. It's just me. If I get that phone call today saying, oh, so-and-so needed help, or, the lady down the street didn't have enough food in Belize to eat, can we help? Charlotte is right there, because that's who we were. That's all I remember in my childhood, that we were always helping each other. And that's what I believe in, that, I was the child that the village raised. And I think we can continue doing that. And I have the strong feeling that Belize can go back to that, in that we can help each other to get where we need to be.
Most of the time when somebody starts anything, they start with the end in mind. So what is your end goal for the nonprofit that you now serve?
So, and the nonprofit so we're just in the basic piece of starting. And you did interview me once for Wings of Mine as the co-founder. And my end profit is to see it grow and see it flourish and move on. Everything I touch it as if it's a caterpillar, and it will bloom and blow off. I don't take full ownership. I just want everything to just continue being positive and moving on. That's all I want to see in the end goal, is that everybody's happy. That's my Cinderella fairy tale dream, is that everybody will be happy in the end, right, Rhonda?
I think that that is really your princess image. You know, I think a lot of times when people say, "Oh, I want to be a princess," they think you're going to be a size 1 wearing a high heel and a crown, but that's really not how the princesses are designed in this day and age. The older we get, we recognize that the princesses are really light-spirited, pleasant people to be around, and they come in all different shape, color, form, ethnicity, and so that might be your princess goal. I am not sure, but it seems like you are well on your way. Who goes and get a master's degree in nonprofit management? I mean, it's a practical thing, but I'm sure when you were going for it, any adult, especially a Belizean parent, would say, "Charlotte, what you do with that?" You understand? Did you face that?
Funny. And not only my husband said it, and my aunt, both of them were like, "You will never be rich."
Yes.
I said, my goal is not to be rich. My goal is to be happy. And I'm happy seeing other people living comfortable.
When you may, I say it lightly because while it is an important position to have because the world needs people like yourself, it's almost like a cultural flaw, if you will. Kind of like when you tell your parents, "Oh, I'm going to go and be a musician," or "I'm going to get a degree in art." Especially Caribbean people, we're like, "This is what I'm spending $100,000 to let you get a degree in art, and then you will not be able to get a job." So what kept you committed even when your family had doubts about the career choice that you were taking?
I think it's my strong-headedness that it will work. I remember when I told my aunt I'm switching from computer science to sociology. She said, "What? How is that going to help you in life?" I said, "Aunt, it will help me. Trust me. I didn't know nonprofit was going to be a thing there, but my goal was to eventually go into the social work field." And again, it just brings me right back to the Petticoat Alley. Some of the issues I saw, some of the concerns that I'm like, "Oh, wow, you know, if I could have only known this then or known this when I knew it, how we could have helped." So many stories that I sit and I listen to growing up about issues that had happened, and I'm like, wow, if I could have only helped. So that was where I was going to sociology. And then when the nonprofit came in, there was an emphasis in family advocacy. And I was already in family advocacy management. So I was like, oh, perfect. I can run my own nonprofit and focus on family advocacy, similar to social work, and go with it from there. So these were my visions, but nobody else was seeing it. And now in a nonprofit realm of things, my husband keeps saying, "You'll never be rich." I said, "But honey, I have you to help me be rich in my heart, because I know I'll never be rich, but I feel good at the end of the day when I know I can help one person. If it's one person."
I guess your riches will not come in the form of cash. We've established this. Your family has established this, because if you get $10,000 today and somebody calls for $9,995, you're going to give it to them. Which is, your family would say, Charlotte is just nuts. But when you are out there, the same way you touch these people's lives, they touch your life. What has been one of the biggest situations that you had to face during this time, or during your choice in terms of family advocacy?
There was one situation, and I never forget, and I keep thinking because it followed me for a while. But I had a family that I was heavily helping getting resources. It was an immigrant family up here. Well, I was in Colorado, and I worked with that family in getting them through a lot of their resources. But it was an abusive family. But both mother and father had built that trust, and it's always that thing. It's that trust. The trust and the confidentiality, and they built that with me. And so it ended up where it became extremely abusive, and the police was involved, but they couldn't go in because the father had taken the mother off and held her against her will for over 3 days. And the police didn't want to use force because there was children involved. And that father specifically asked for me. And here I come. It wasn't part of my job. But when I got the phone call, I knew the family. I had already established. Who you think put on a bulletproof vest for the first time?
Wow. Wow.
I know if I had made that call to my husband and say, I'm putting on a bulletproof vest and I'm going in here. We think there's weapons, but we don't know. But I felt secure because I had worked with that family and advocated that in so many ways. And that father opened the door to me and let me in. And we talked our way through till the cops came in and took him off. Every so often, I would get a phone call at my desk from that mother, just telling me she's okay and what her kids are doing. And that was the hardest thing in leaving Colorado because she always found me, because I stayed at the same job for almost 20 years. But I always got that call knowing that she did good and her kids have moved up and did good. And I felt good. We never met again in life, but it goes through my mind like, wow, she did good. And, I'm hoping that wherever her husband did, he would have gotten the help and did good. But he trusted me. He let me in to help his wife. And I got in without even thinking what the consequences was.
We find that maybe while it is not so severe, that a lot of families are in trouble. If somebody is watching this right now that is in trouble, they may be in the position of the father or of the mother. What would you say to him? Because a lot of time we talk to her, but I would like to know what you would say to him if he is the aggressor, if he's the one confused and not sure how to manage himself and his family and resort to violence. What would you say to him?
He can always find that one person that will be that mediator to talk him through, help him through it, find the resources. At the end, it doesn't take to end up taking a life away. You will be able to save yours, save that family. Many, 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 many men, when it comes to mental health, they don't seek it. That's the last resort for them because it takes away a lot of their pride. But they do have that one person, that one person that can de-escalate and help them. Find that one person that you can talk to that can help you de-escalate your situation before you reach to that other level. I stress all the time that we always focus, yes, on the woman in mental health, but the men are the silent ones. And they are the ones who need a lot of attention many, many, many times. And again, growing up, we saw that. We saw many things that we didn't take as serious mental health are serious issues now. But back then, I know many times my grandmother was called in that there was a domestic fight in the alley, and a lot of the matriarch women would show up and they would help de-escalate. That was always the case. And so I think just taking it on, and in that case, I saw where the man needed help. He needed all the assistance and the resources. But if I could have helped and stopped and saved everyone at the same time, no, that's not what happens all the time. But it was one life, many lives actually. It would have been 4 lives saved. But for the men, they need to reach out and find that one person that they can reach out to.
Now, for a woman that's thinking she can't leave, that perhaps he is the breadwinner, they have 4 children together, she feels trapped in more ways than one. What would you say to her?
And they say in domestic abuse, it takes 7 times for a woman to leave that home. And beliefs would say, oh, why she can't come to her senses? Why is it she can't do this? But we are not walking her shoes. We don't feel what she's feeling. We're not thinking what she's thinking. And she's thinking exactly what you said, Rhonda. He's the breadwinner. I don't have a job. I depended on him all our lives. How will my kids get by? He's threatened me many times he's going to kill me. But you find that one person. There's always that one person that you can confide in. And I am certain now in Belize, there's many places. And I know the mental health field is starting to expand. There's that one person that you can reach out to and say, hey, this is what's happening. I need to leave. This is how can I get out of it? But it's taking you as the individual in that abuse situation to help talk your way out. It will take you 7 times, but keep talking your way out of it. And eventually you'll find a solution. That's always the case when we say back home that, why is it they don't leave? Why they can't come to their senses? We don't understand that abuse is not only physical, it's emotional, it's mental. There's so many aspects of it.
The same way how you say she will go 7 times on average without leaving. Now there's a friend. The friend is you or me or whoever it is. And I can tell you, I've had this person that she calls me all the time, but I get frustrated because she always calls me with the same story, and I might be wrong. After you said those things, I thought to myself, perhaps I should not have said it, but I said, listen to me. You always call me with the same story. If you don't want to change your mind, I can't help you. If you want to talk about the children, you want to talk about something else, I'm open, but don't call me ever again to talk about your spouse. And as you say that, I think to myself, that was harsh, because I don't fully understand her. I only understand from this position. I only understand that you've called me for the past year, every week complaining how this person is a wicked, wicked person. And I tell you what I think, and I give you suggestion, and I say, go to your mother, your whoever, and you do nothing other than call me. How can we be better friends or better help to the people that reach out to us?
And Rhonda, it's, I get where you're coming from, because I've been there where I said, oh my God, how many more times will I hear this? But, it's that listening ear, but it's that person being strong, just like you, in saying, listen, this is what's happening. This is what you're putting your kids through. These are the situations, laying it out for her. Many times, sometimes it takes black and white. In putting it out and saying, this is what you're looking at eventually. But once you, as the friend, know deep down inside that you have been there, you've listened to her cries, giving her the resources, making sure she has them on hand. When I was a family advocate in Colorado, I would say, here's your resources. When I did social work, when I was a child protective service investigator, and we went out to the homes from domestic abuse, I would make sure that we had every hotline number for her, that in the event something should happen, here you have it. I wouldn't be able as a friend to walk away feeling that, well, I could have given her this number, or I could have referred her to this. If I gave her all the resources, I would feel comfortable. And yes, it takes a lot of your time as a friend, but then you can say, exactly what you did, Rhonda. I don't want to hear about how much John or Harry, I don't want to hear how much he has done to you. Let's talk about the kids. Let's talk about where they're at. Let's talk about you. What are you doing for yourself? In that meantime, you're helping her start to progress and thinking, okay, you have a way out, an escape route. What are you doing for yourself to get to that point where you're feeling independent and secure to reach to?
We're going to take a break and be back.
Some moments are worth the journey. We'll help get the most out of every mile. Chase down your passion. Never halfway. Hankook Tire.
There are several benefits to eating rice regularly. Whether you're looking for a protein-rich food for your vegan or vegetarian diet, or looking for an awesome pre-workout meal, Country Foods Rice is an ideal candidate. Country Foods Rice works in many ways to improve your body's overall health. It also is a great source of energy, improves nervous system health, gluten-free, and is a natural anti-inflammatory. Country Foods Rice. Look for our products in a store near you. When you're having a good time with family and friends, it has to be followed up by a great meal. And great meals begin at Country Meats. When it comes to high quality steaks at everyday low prices, Country Meats cannot be beaten. So, whether you're cooking for one or cooking for 20, barbecuing a favorite or grilling a classic, it has to be from Country Meats. Country Meats, where high quality, excellent prices, and outstanding service meet. Check us out at your nearest supermarket or inside any quality poultry products outlet. Country Meats, providing the highest quality and variety when it comes to steaks and other meats in Belize.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation.
Great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow Cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
P-Tech has been in Belize now for more than 6 years. We specialize in residential and industrial high-quality glass windows and doors.
I chose P-Tech windows because they're the highest quality I can get.
I chose P-Tech windows because I'm quite impressed about the way they're manufactured. These are double pane glasses. They're called low E. That keeps out a lot of the heat.
Check us out at p-tek.com or give us a call at 671-3842. New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating, and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Morning Matters. Charlotte, definitely it's a pleasure having you in here. I think that you so far have been shedding a lot of light on how people can cope and hopefully move to a better place than they are if they're facing some challenges. Now I want to talk a little bit about your latest venture, the nonprofit that you serve. I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about all the other nonprofits that you assist without taking any credit for them, if you will. So if Mary Jane call you and say, I have one feeding program, La Bomba, you try. Then there's somebody from Timbuktu calls and say, Charlotte, I have this lady when I have no shoes, feed children, you try. How do you manage? When you are taking care of all of these people's needs, how do you meet your own?
That you touch all the topics that my husband and I have been talking about this week, because he's like, will the phone ever stop ringing, and when will you know not to say yes anymore? And it's hard. It's hard because I think that's what makes my day go through. At the end of the day, when I know that, somebody got that help that they needed, I think that's what keeps me going. And it's hard for me to say no. And many times he will say, well, if you don't have the resource, say no. And I said, but I might know somebody who knows somebody, because that's how we do it in Belize, right?
So you spend a lot of your time, if you don't have it, a lot of time you say yes and then you find it.
Yes. Or sometimes I will say, I really don't know, but let me check what I can do. And then I will work extremely hard in trying to make sure. I know, like, for example, I am not a sports person. And it came to me the opportunity for club soccer in Belize. And I knew that wasn't something that I would know. It wasn't within my realm. But I didn't want to give up that opportunity. Many times opportunities come to my door, and I know it can help the people in our country, but I don't want to give it up, Rhonda. So I will say, when the club soccer opportunity came, I researched and I'm like, oh my God, who can I contact that I know can take this and run with it and not make me look bad to the people I have to work with up here? And I remember when I called Daniel Fabro and I said, we have this opportunity. And he was all hyped and excited. And yes, we can make this work. And the vision was to bring up some kids to Belize. And where would we get the money to bring so many kids up, about 11 kids to play a tournament? But he was like, don't worry. And it's the people that I find that in Belize that would say, not to worry, Charlotte, we will make this work. Let's work together. And so he put it and he said, no, this can happen, man. Yes, yes. And that was the vibe I love. And so I said, if he said we can happen, we will work. And it happened. And he brought up 11 kids to play club soccer tournament in Colorado. We're a high altitude. And he brought these kids, many of them, and he said many of the kids were from Yabra area, never left the country. He worked with them getting visas. These kids were on the side field changing cleats and soccer shoes because we didn't have enough. And the other parents that saw them were like impressed that they took these kids out to buy them full outfits at the end. I asked us how well these kids did in high altitude coming from Belize. Amazing. They won, I want to say they won every match, if I'm mistaken, but Danielle would have to tell you that. But the way they behaved, they were the best ambassadors out here. Excellent, excellent. And that just took me finding one person that could run with it. That was the same thing with Wings of Mine with my cousin. When I saw her hurt and I said, Isa, there's so many women hurting out there. Let's try and find a way out to help them. And we started off and went with it.
I want to talk about Wings of Mine because, like you said, there are a lot of people that are men and women alike that suffer the loss of their children, and both sexes handle it differently. So let's talk a little bit about Wings of Mine. For the people that don't know, what is Wings of Mine?
So Wings of Mine is a nonprofit that we have in Belize for women who've suffered miscarriage. So there's two components to it. There's the component where we assist women who have suffered miscarriages once they've had that loss. And then there's the component where it's a group of support that they meet every other Thursday Now it's on Zoom, but they meet every other Thursday and support each other. But our end goal is to provide resources for women who suffered miscarriage and who needs assistance in mental health, for example. Many of these women, we think, again, in Belize, it's still a taboo topic. And so mental health resources is very far and in between. And a woman many times are on the waiting list almost 2 years. In the meantime, what do we do 2 years while this woman is still suffering? And it's not just her. Again, it's the man. These males suffer. They're the silent sufferers. They won't talk about it because, oh, I'm a man, I'm not supposed to, but they feel it. They feel it because, like I said, I heard my uncle cry and my cousins, which were her brothers, because we were looking forward to this baby. And even my husband, we felt it. So when I'm seeing these men drop a tear, I know it affects them.
How can people find Wings of Mine?
We have a Facebook page. It's wingsofmindbz.org. We also have a Facebook page. They can always reach out to Isalee. She's the founder. She's always available, and quite a few of the members, along with the other co-founder, Julie Bradley, they can reach out to us where we can offer support and resources. One of the other things that we started doing also is, and we haven't really stretched it out, in that many women needs to put closure in having their baby buried, and many of them can't afford it. And so reaching out to ISA, we try to find a way. We partner with Stanley Lizama to help with the morgue and some of the burial arrangements. So that's another piece that we do of Wings of Mine that we have started looking into.
It's a very tough time. I mean, just talking about it, you can feel the weight of it. But it's good to know that there is a space that people can go and have the conversation and to start the conversation. But another thing that I think could be of concern to somebody is the trust issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a huge time in that person's life. And now they will go to, with all due respect, a bunch of strangers that live in their society that they have to trust. How has that part been received?
We get some kickback, but not a lot. We do get a lot of private messages. And I mean, it rings to home because that's how Isa was at first. Why am I supposed to talk to that person? I don't know them. You know, it took her coming out of Belize and talking to somebody else that's not there. So that was her thing, in that, why am I coming out? Why am I talking to this person? They're just going to spread my information all over the place. Many times the first person on hand that they speak to, it would be Isalee, myself, or Julie. And then we determine from there how we interact with that mother. And we don't make it a push to join the support group. We offer it, we let you know we're there, and then we give it to you so you can make that choice.
I think one of the things that would bring comfort to the people is the fact that the women that are at the head have experienced this loss themselves. So I would imagine that would bring some comfort to them, that they're not just women that knows about this, but they're women that have experienced this.
Yes. Well, I think I'm the only one in the group that haven't experienced it, but I've experienced the secondary trauma of it. And so that I think that's the part that I can relay in with the grandparents, the aunts, the other piece, the men, in that how it feels on the outside, not as the mother.
For somebody that may be looking, that would want to offer some assistance, maybe on their off, they would like to offer some free counseling or whatever it is that they can. How can they access you to volunteer this service?
So Wings of Mind BZ, there's an opportunity to email us if they want to go onto the page and email us from that page. That would be amazing. We, like you said, I never close any door that knocks for me. So I always find it's that fairy tale one that I have where somebody knocks and they come and I'm like, okay, let me see who I'm going to reach. So Rhonda, you never know when I'm going to reach out to you to say, Rhonda, I have this person.
But I like that, Charlotte. I like that. I think that if the world had more people like yourself that were active in touching each other, because we can fix it through the other person, if you will. Because if each of us, it's like the other day I said, I have a friend that's trying to help somebody, and I say, you know what? Let me tell Charlotte, because Charlotte might know somebody that can give 2 pounds of rice or whatever the case is. So, and then everybody's needs are met. So the people in the River Valley or wherever this person is trying to assist will get their needs met. So everybody has to reach out. We can't just say, I don't know, and left it so. I don't know, but keep it in the back of your mind. So when somebody like Charlotte or myself or anybody pass, you could say, this is what I'm looking for. So we are grateful that there is a Charlotte out there with her Princess One in hand, and definitely using it. But before we go, I need to know, how do you take care of yourself? How do you manage your mental health, your emotional needs? Because those have to be they have to be big on your list, because if you are not well, then nothing that you touch will be well.
So I have my family. I have my extended family, and they're my sounding board. My kids, my husband, my family. They listen to me. At the end of the day, they're the ones that hear me cry and say, "Oh, could you believe this Belize person didn't want to open their door to help this other one?" And then I tell my daughter, "Well, honey, can you write a check for me?" Or call my aunt in Belize and cry to her, and then she will say, "But Charlotte, you can't save the world." So, but I try. I will never stop until it's me. It's who I am. I just can't help it. It's what I saw work in Petticoat Ollie. It's what I saw all these women do, and I know it can be done. And Belize can be such a great, continue to be a great country. Because everywhere I go, Rhonda, you ask them who Charlotte Nal is. If they met me here, they say, "Oh, the Belize lady." Yes, because I'm so proud of where I come from.
Charlotte, what's next for you?
My own nonprofit now. So at the end, that's the part I'm in. My husband said, "You went to school for nonprofit, then make it work. Then I get off your back." So I am in the process of doing my own nonprofit where resources will come through me, and then I will find resources in Belize or throughout the Caribbean to channel it through.
Excellent. I look forward to that conversation when you have it up and running. I'm sure it's not going to be long, because you know how to find the resources for everybody. You will find the resources for this. For a person that's sitting out there that's feeling a little bit like they can't, like they're not achieving, like their heads are bucking, what would you say to him or her?
I said, don't stop. Don't ever stop. This was my dream. 2000, when I returned back from Belize. After I left Belize, this was what I wanted to do. It's 20 years later. I mean, I did it without an organization, but now I can see, okay, I'll put it on footwork. And I have so much people supporting me, say, "Charlotte, get it done. We need to get it done. Let's get it done." So this is the time for me to get it done. And don't stop. It's there. It's coming.
Charlotte, I say thank you for stopping and sharing with us this morning. Any final words?
My final words is thank you for this opportunity, and thank everyone for all the help that they have given. And let's not stop. Let's just keep doing, especially at the time like this, Rhonda. It's one hand helping the other. That's the only way we're gonna make it.
Again, Charlotte, I say thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda.